Hey everybody, I'm Ricky.
And I'm Nova.
Tonight's marriaging episode is actually a segment that we call Almost Marriaging.
Almost marriaging. For those of you who are not quite married, maybe dating, engaged, but you're almost married, but you're not. So it's for you, mostly.
And as you can tell, we're not sitting in our house like we normally film our episodes. We're actually in our car. We're actually not moving in our car. We're parked in our car.
Yeah.
I like being parked in our car.
I do too. It's actually the safest I feel when you're in the driver's seat. Parked.
Wow.
We're parking. Isn't this fun?
You and me, we got this. Gonna take some practice. Superpower oneness. We are marriaging. Oh, oh.
Wonder Twin Powers activate.
We are marriaging.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Ricky.
And I'm Nova. And you have heard of the 7 deadly sins. We're not talking about those. We're actually talking about the 7 safeguards for dating sin-free. We thought that would be kind of fun.
7 safeguards for dating sin-free. That's important.
And I think in light of the fact that we are in our car, we could say, since we're parking, and we're not doing anything, we're just parking. A safeguard for you in your relationship is to take no long trips together that require you to be in the car alone for a really long time. Because getting away makes a way to know we're good.
Getting away makes a way to know we're good. That's good.
Thanks.
Did you just come up with that tonight?
It's true, though.
You're in the car. You're on a road trip. It's just a harmless road trip. We're going to be gone for a few hours. And gosh, I am so tired. I can't keep my eyes open.
We should take a nap on the side of the road.
And I just happen to have a blanket in the back of my car and a pillow. Oh, that's dangerous.
It is dangerous.
Or, hey, there's a Marriott. Marriotts are nice. We'll get 2 rooms. Oh, we can't afford 2 rooms. We'll get 2 beds in 1 room.
That's probably totally going to work out. Right? Hey, and really, we're talking to you because we recognize that a lot of people, struggle in the area of keeping it clean in dating, and that you're normal. You're not abnormal people. So that's why this is like, don't do this or you're a terrible person. Do this as if you really want to live and like date purely, then set these, we're calling them safeguards. It's like, this is a smart thing to do.
Yeah, it's actually really important to be physically attracted to each other. And I'd say if you're dating someone and you're not physically attracted to them, then
like if this isn't a problem, you might have another
that's
problem.
A problem. That's a whole nother episode we might have to address later. But this episode is really about guarding your heart. And as Shiloh, hi Shiloh, as my wife, Nova, as Nova just shared.
Maybe because Shiloh's name means peaceful and abundant, and I'm super peaceful and abundant, so you got us mixed up.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Okay.
Because I'm in love with both of my girls. That's the truth.
But I'm number 1.
You are number 1.
Don't get it twisted. Number 2.
Yep. Number 2.
I mean, this kind of coincides with that, but this is different because this is called hands-free communication. These stay here, and they're not here. There's been a few different couples who, have messed up before, and then they decide to draw the line in the sand. And like I think he kissed her on the top of the head for like a year, and then they had gotten married. But they just decided that they would have hands-free communication. What happens when you're not using your hands? You're actually using your mouth and your brain, and you're listening more than you're
touching,
moving puzzle pieces.
The thing is, you get to know each other,
yes.
And if your tongue's in your girlfriend's mouth and you're not using it to share things. So the physical touch distracts from conversation.
And we might be talking to people who their love language is physical touch. So how can you still fill that person's cup without being all over them? And I would say like simply like even just holding hands, and even some people would think that's too much, but hands-free communication it's challenging, but the truth is if you let your fingers do the walking and talking, I don't think it's good.
That's like an old person reference.
It is. And I went there.
So,
and no one's going to
number
relate.
2 is hands-free communication. Put that on your list. That's really important. Number 3.
Number 3 is call it midnight or there is no night. In other words,
midnight or no night. That's a good one.
Yeah.
My wife is. This is like an album. She just wrote like a singles album.
I'm gonna be this. The iTunes music is coming out soon. My playlist.
We say nothing good happens after midnight when you're single. Everything good happens after midnight when you're married. You got to just be careful. Then and why midnight? Well, the later the evening gets, the darker it gets. That's true. And the more you let go of your inhibitions, right?
Yeah, and you get really comfortable being in the dark.
Yep.
You know,
and I think when we were in youth ministry and we worked with a bunch of high school students, their classic line was, "We fell asleep watching a movie."
Totally, I totally get that.
So, anyways, now it's either midnight or make the boundary of like, if I know I'm not going to be home till after midnight, then I'm just going to say no. We don't mean to sound like, gosh, that's so like whatever, guys, but crazy. That seems so strict. This isn't rules. We're telling you these are 7 safeguards for sin-free dating. Like if you want to safeguard yourself, then these are the ways to do it. And I think it might sound harsh to some people, but the truth is no long trips, hands-free communication, and midnight or no night.
And right? On the midnight or no night, I just want to say this. We're assuming that our audience here are folks that are not 16. Like we're assuming that
you're in college,
or a little bit older, so you're responsible for yourself. You're grown adults. You don't have parents waiting for you, probably more than likely after the date to ensure that you get home, so you don't have that accountability. However, that does not mean that you can be loose and it says something to a young lady, your date, a girlfriend, a fiance, when you say, you know what, as the man, I'm just going to get you home at 10 because we don't need to be out past 10 o'clock right now, and
I can look forward to another time with you.
Yeah
It's almost like the person who it's like when somebody communicates from a stage, whatever they're doing, and they only speak 20 minutes, but you wish they would have spoken 45. That's what it's like to cut short a really good date. It's like, I can't wait till the next time. So like, let there be some anticipation for the next date, as opposed to just like, let's just drag this out to see how far we can get. The next one is kind of a cool safeguard. Now, this doesn't mean you can't go it alone, but
number 4.
Number 4 is double date or choose your fate. So if you really want to have some boom, boom, boom.
That's awesome.
I love titles. Double date or choose your fate. You want to go on a longer trip to like a few hours away or whatever, like go see the snow. Bring another couple with you.
Right.
Let it be a double date. Let the person that you're dating, like, see how they interact with other couples. Like, can they, maybe because they're so into you, they ignore other people. That's like a kind of a thing. A red flag. So, that's a good way to see how this person is around others and see if they're considerate not only towards you, but maybe to the couple. I'm pointing back there. There's no other couple back there, but couple. I'm pretending. I'm getting in character right now if we were on a double date. Maybe that would be a good thing to do.
Yeah, and the reason number 4 is for sure 100% safeguard. Unless you're just a terrible person, you're not going to make out in front of this other couple. It's just super awkward. So, so it's a safeguard because the entire evening you will never be tempted to be handsy and go further than you want to go, because you always have this third wheel, these 2 other people hanging out with you, and so it's not even a temptation. And I almost can promise you're gonna have more fun when not in the back of your mind. If the whole night you're like, gosh, I want to mess around, but I shouldn't, but now that just goes away and you just have fun, the 4 of you, right?
Yep. Yeah, safeguard what? Number 5?
Number 5.
No tinted windows. Safeguard number 5, no tinted windows, which means, full disclosure, be transparent.
So here's the thing. Tinted windows gives you, when you walk by a car and they have a tint on them, depending on how dark they're tinted, you can kind of see what's in the car, but you don't have a very clear picture. And some relationships, I know, you can walk around and give a facade as though things are great. You just it's just like a kind of a foggy picture of your relationship, but really on the inside there's more stuff going on than you're willing to reveal, and that's a scary place to be. That's a dangerous place to be.
So you really have to. So we're not saying don't buy a car that has tinted windows.
No, we're not saying that
at all. So please get that.
However, if a guy comes to pick you up for a first date and he has limo tint, do not go on a date with him.
Run for limo tint. Oh my gosh.
Especially in a van.
Oh man.
Okay,
That's
so-
good. Okay. Number 6.
Number 6.
Keep Home Alone for Christmas movie time.
You were trying not to laugh and keep it in, but you thought that was really funny.
Because it's one of
The
my favorite
best.
Christmas movies.
It is.
but
It is. Yeah.
Keep it for
A Christmas movie.
as if it was a Christmas movie. I
Yeah.
would say do not be home. Again, this is kind of nods its hat to some of the other things we said, but
Yeah.
But really, if you want to safeguard your dating relationship to be one that is free from sinful behavior or a sinful setup,
Yeah.
we'll say, yeah, I'd say don't be home alone. So our son,
He's 20.
He's 20, and he lives not with us. He's at college, but when he will come home for, like, I don't know, a dinner or for the weekend or whatnot, if he's meeting us here and he's brought his girlfriend to dinner,
Who's also 20.
who's also 20, brought her to dinner that night. If we're not here, he won't go in the house. He'll call us and say, "Hey, how close are you guys? We'll just wait in the car till you get home." And honestly, like, I never asked him to do that.
Nope.
I never said it, but he has. I'd just like to say, I think we got that one specifically because of him, because he was like, "Yeah, she just doesn't look good." Like, all our neighbors know that he goes to a Christian college. I would say he's just, and it's not that he didn't want to do it for himself, but he recognizes the responsibility of, like, if I'm going to be a godly guy, then I'm going to date in a way that wouldn't cause other people to question my character.
There's a verse in the Bible says you have to live above reproach, which means that you live in such a way you are clean, like your hands are clean, and
it feels good to have your hands clean.
It does.
You know, if you live that way, then when someone does try to put you in a corner and question, they can always question you, but your character will speak for itself. It's the easiest thing to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Number 7. Have a plan before you have a fire.
You got to know your exits. You got to know how to put the fire out, where the extinguisher is. And the worst time to learn all that stuff is when your house is on fire. Right?
Yeah. Oh, totally. When you're on fire, or I'm on fire, or you're on fire. You're on fire. And you're on fire. You have to have a plan, because sometimes you may, can't think of a circumstance, something might pop in your head, but you may end up being in some kind of situation where you're feeling trapped. And so you have to have an exit strategy.
Trapped as in, this is going too far,
Yeah.
and I don't think I can stop myself.
Right.
So I'll give you a scenario. You go to the beach, and it's daytime, and it's beautiful, and there's lots of people at the beach. Maybe you go with a group, and you're in the water, maybe surfing or playing, and next thing you know, it's just the two of you. Everybody else is gone, and there's nobody to be seen on the beach. You have a blanket, and it's very easy to stay on that blanket on the beach into the evening. It's beautiful with the stars, and next thing you know,
Yeah.
and
It's
you're in
why
the dark.
most guys take girls to the beach, actually. Just saying.
Dang, now no guys are gonna. Anybody who watches this with their girlfriends will be like,
you think you're taking me to the beach? Okay, I don't think
like
so.
if even
Betty.
if they're like, hey babe, should we go to the beach? Oh heck no, I know what you're trying to do.
The beach is off limits. I know we only have 7 points, but I'm just saying, it's also fine to just, not cause them to stumble and just wear things up to here. Like I'm doing on our date. See, you haven't even tried to really look at me because I'm just fully covered up.
No chance of seeing anything
No chance.
on this girl.
This is a poofy jacket. I've got the ugliest socks and Uggs on. I mean, it's amazing. So
and
there's that setup.
And we dated in Canada, so it was quite cold. So
I don't
actually,
even think you saw my skin.
I saw your face and your
a year
hands
and a half
for a year.
later.
Your face and your hands. That was
Yeah.
it. Face and your hands.
Ooh, you're beautiful.
And that was enough. All these safeguards are really important because we're trying to help you plan for success, and we want you to be successful in your dating life. And maybe no one's brave enough to tell you. So we're going to tell you. If you decide that you're going to be sexually active, you're going to have sex with your girlfriend or your fiance prior to marriage, there is a very good chance that your marriage will not be blessed by God. In fact, it's pretty clear in God's word. He says that sex is reserved for the marriage bed, and that means for husband and wife, and any sex that happens outside of the marriage bed. And sex, by the way, isn't intercourse. It is, but it's so much more. So there's a lot of components of sexual activity. So we'll just say sexual activity outside of the marriage bed will not be blessed by God.
Gosh, that does sound really harsh. It's like there's a good chance that you won't have a fulfilling sex life after, if you have all this sex before you get married and then you do. I'd be interested to talk to people who feel like, yeah, I wish that we wouldn't have, and that might be, something for a future episode. But it does, you just have more things to bring into your marriage. And even if it is with this person, I think I feel like very grateful that we can share with our son truthfully that we did not have sex before marriage. And that is and I'm not trying to even say
with each other.
Yeah. I mean, you were,
because we both had
things.
I had a past.
And not to say like, oh, look at us, like we just do everything right. But there was something where we felt like God really did speak to us. Is like, this is not the way you're headed. And we have been blessed as a result of our positive choices. So I think it should be an encouragement to you, like, man, there's a blessing in keeping the boundaries and keeping the safeguards, and there's less things to wonder about. I think if you give it all away before you're married, even to this person, then you set yourself up. How you date and how you give your body away pre-marriage it's a setup for where your boundaries will be with other people after you're married. And this is all headed towards marriage. If you are almost marrying, then all of these conversations move into the idea of being married, and we set ourselves up for who we will be as married people when we're dating. And that is just the truth. Like, we would be wrong if we just said, oh, well, you'll be fine eventually. And, you might be, but it's going to take work to get there. Like, just be prepared. So this isn't an episode to shame you and to make you feel awful.
Not at all.
This is an episode to encourage you. Like, you can do this. It is possible to date purely and live out in these safeguards. But the last thing we want you to do is leave this feeling terrible. So So we want to tell you, if this is where you've been, stop and move into the 7 safeguards and begin with one and choose to live differently, because this, no one can live your life for you. It's your life. You have to live it. Like, we can't be telling you what to do. Now, we can encourage you, but in all honesty, you have to make those choices and decisions for yourself. And you have to decide, I'm going to honor myself, honor God, and honor my own body and my future husband or wife. And I'm going to protect that person. And you'll probably hear this from us a million times, but we say to young men all the time, treat this girl like she's somebody else's wife. And treat him like he's someone else's husband. And I think if you gain that perspective, you'll be richer for it in the end.
We've heard it said, and it's true, how you do anything is how you do everything. So how you date is how you're going to marry. And if you take little shortcuts in dating, you will take shortcuts in marriage, and it will cause problems. We also believe that because of this standard that we held ourselves to, grown adults, it wasn't parents, we were grown adults when we dated and courted, got engaged, and we set these standards that were, here's the line, and then here were our standards. So we didn't even get close to the line. And during that season, we got to know each other. We became best friends. And as a result, in our marriage, we are still best friends. So all this is to say, if you can put off the physical just until that time comes in marriage, we want to tell you it's great in marriage. Sex is amazing in marriage. And we are having a blast. I'm 50, she's 46, and we are having a blast. So it's not just, just so that you young people know, you don't just have fun and sex when you're married in your 20s and 30s. We're having a really good time. So if you want
we are.
if you want to have a really good time later, then start working on the friendship now, and then invest in the physical part of your relationship later.
There's so much fun for the future.
Yeah.
So don't crack open the piñata before it's time.
That's the best.
Okay, well, so that's it. That was
Yeah.
Almost Marriaging, 7 safeguards to a sin-free dating life.
I'd like to end this episode like this. So, some of the things that Nova, she was talking about, this is not to shame you or make you feel bad, and some of you, you're currently in a situation where you're going too far and you know it. We gave you actually an example of a couple that we've spent some time with, and we actually officiated their wedding. They were having sex, and they heard something like this, or conviction from God, and said, no more. And man, they stopped, and so it's not too late to put the brakes on.
And they have such a beautiful healthy marriage and amazing kids now, but he still kisses her on the top of her head. He loves that girl.
So here's how I would like to end this episode today is I would like my wife to pray over those of you that feel shame, you feel guilt, you feel like we've messed up, we've gone too far. And she's going to pray a prayer of forgiveness and freedom and just a blank slate over your relationship. And we'd like you to shut this episode off tonight and then lay out the future. Start fresh. Start from scratch today. Can we do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lord, thank you for the Almost Marriaging community. And I thank you, Father, that there are men and women that really desire to marriage right, but to date right, into marriage, to court correctly, and really in a way that honors you. So this isn't about rules and regulations. This always comes down to the heart of the matter, and that is a heart that really desires to please you and to live a life of freedom, that live a transparent, vulnerable, open life to you, with you, and with others, God. And I pray for those who feel like they've just gone too far and they can never get it back. And I just break off those lies, because it's never too late with you. You always extend your hand of mercy and grace. And so I just pray for those who just really desire to turn it around and make not just a partial turn, but totally. And God, I pray that you would give them the courage. You've given them the grace to live out in this life. Now give them the courage to walk out the things that they really they know they need to move forward in, that are going to be really challenging to do. But you're with them, and you're going to make a way, God. And I pray against any feelings of failure or defeat. And God, I pray for those men, in particular young men, who have really felt that that was their worth, was getting girls. And I pray that they would find a man in their life that they can emulate, and they can ask a lot of questions to, and they can become men that are strong leaders and servants. And I pray for the young women who have given themselves away because of identity issues, and I pray that they would know who they are, and that you love them, and that they are worth being treated like a daughter of a king. And so God, I just pray that these 7 safeguards would encourage, and they would build up these people, and not that they wouldn't feel torn down, God. And I know we laugh a lot with you, God, and I think you love it, and we joke, but we do take it seriously, that how we do anything is really how we're really going to do everything. And so God, I pray that you would bring these people to a place where they feel like they can really trust you and submit to you and be honest with themselves and with you, and that they would know that they're welcome into your Father's arms. And we just pray this in the name of Jesus.
Amen. Love you guys. And we'll see you soon.
That was a long prayer. I'm sorry. I just can't help myself.
It's a great prayer. Receive it.
Almost Marriaging.
You can do it. You're almost there. Bye, guys.
We are